Very simple to understand. And it comes right from Yeshua's own mouth. So now we need to know what law is he talking about. Well, the second part of that is to love your neighbor as yourself. Honor thy father and thy mother. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Don't steal. Don't be a false witness. And don't covet. Those are the last 6 commandments of the 10 commandments. But this is the second great commandment that he's talking about. The first tells us how to love Yahweh. They are summed up by Yeshua in Matthew 22:37, but they are explained in Exodus 20, verse 3. You shall have no other gods before me, no carved images, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, and to remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. And that's how you love God. That's how you love Yahweh. So there's one for Yahweh and one for man. The soul that sins shall die. Sin is a transgression of the law. The law is the 10 commandments. Now I'm going to repeat this a number of times because I know you as Israelites. Israelites are like Dutch people. Wooden shoes, wooden head, wouldn't listen. So Yahweh repeats things many times in the Bible because he knows how thick-headed we are. Stiff-necked, rebellious people. Matthew 18:6. But just to sum that up, if you deceive the least of these little ones, in whatever teaching you teach, if you're teaching them a lie, it would be better for you to tie a millstone around your neck and go jump in a lake. So I read that to myself every time I teach something. You do not want my opinion. You do not want the opinion of somebody standing up here. So that's why I read scriptures and try and stick very close to them. Because I don't want to be accused of misleading anybody. Think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass away, not one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. Whoever therefore shall break one of the least of these commandments shall be, and teach men so, shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. So there you have it. Which of those 10 commandments is the least important one? I always thought it was coveting. It's not that bad. We see it on commercials every day to want this and to want that. So if it's not that bad, well, that's not too bad a thing. But a lot of people disagree. Peter said in 2 Peter 3:16, Paul wrote of things hard to understand, which untaught and unstable people twist to their own destruction, as they also do the rest of Scriptures. He's talking about what Paul was saying in the Old Testament. Paul only read the Old Testament for the New Testament. But people twist that to their own destruction. They use the law that Yeshua fulfilled the law, therefore we don't have to. So this is not a good thing. The law that Yeshua fulfilled was the death penalty. He was hung on a tree. No man is to be allowed to hang on a tree overnight. He became a curse for our sins. So when you're accursed, there's a certain penalty. He was also accused by the high priest of blasphemy. And when he does that, there's also a penalty for that. That's the penalties that he fulfilled. If you don't know what it is, you can go back and read it in Deuteronomy. What is the penalty for blasphemy and for the accursed? The law, ladies and gentlemen, is not done away. The soul that sins shall die. Sin is a transgression of the law. The law is the 10 commandments. We're going to repeat this. Why is the 4th commandment the one that no one wants to obey? Which is basically it, because you know adultery is wrong. You know that stealing is wrong. You know that having 5 gods is wrong. But when we come down to the 4th commandment, that's the one everyone disagrees with and says that's the one that's nailed to the tree, or that's the one that's done away. So why is it that that one is the one that is to be, Satan's trying to hide? In Daniel 7, Satan seeks to change times and law. The 4th commandment is a set period of time, from Sabbath Friday night to the end of Saturday night at sunset. Sunset Friday night to sunset Saturday night. That is the Sabbath. That's a period of time. It's also a law. It's part of the 10 commandments. It hides the truth. So what is the truth that he's trying to hide by not having you keep this law? Well, in Exodus 13, it shall be for a sign unto you upon your hand, and as a memorial between your eyes. Just these are the 2 things it's going to show you. It's a sign. Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, and say, verily my Sabbaths, plural, you shall keep. It is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I am the Lord that doth sanctify you. So there were babies born in every hospital across this country last night. So the generations are still being produced. So it has not ended. What is the sign? The Sabbath, plural, more than one. Exodus 31, wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations, a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. So what part of forever stopped somewhere in history? Forever means forever. It's like forever and forever and forever and forever and forever and forever. It's just forever. So if you don't know what forever is, ask your child. It's forever. They just don't stop. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thy heart, and thou shalt bind them upon thy hand, as a sign on your hand, and between your eyes. Therefore you shall lay up these words of mine in your heart, in your soul, as a sign on your hand, and as frontlets between your eyes. That doesn't mean you get a box and put it on your forehead, or a box and put it on your hand. It's the Sabbath that is the sign, the way you think and the way you live, because your hands is how you make your living. That's what it's talking about. Therefore, again, therefore you shall lay up these words of mine in your heart, in your soul, for a sign on your hand and between your eyes. He has now said this about 4 or 5 times because he knows you. Wooden heads wouldn't listen. Stiff-necked, rebellious people. This happens to be the exact same thing that Yeshua said in Matthew 22. Your heart, your soul, and your mind. That's how you're to love Yahweh with all your heart, with all your soul, and all your mind. He's quoting Deuteronomy, the same things we've just looked at 4 times. In Revelations, we can read where Satan says that he's going to put a mark on your hand and on your forehead. So what is it that Satan is trying to do? He's impersonating Yahweh. He's giving you a different sign. What's Yahweh's sign? His Sabbaths and his holy days. So what's Satan's? Something different, other than the Sabbath or the holy days. So something else besides that. In Leviticus 23, we're told what those holy days are. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, these are my feasts, more than one. Then the very next verse, it starts to list them. The 7th day weekly Sabbath. The first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. The last day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. The Feast of Pentecost. The Feast of Trumpets. The Day of Atonement, which is a fast day. The Feast of Tabernacles. And the 8th day of the feast, or the 8th day feast. These are the only holy days that Yahweh proclaims. If you have a holy day that you keep and it's not here, you need to go back and double check.